I watched back on a previous live stream the other day, and it just sort of started mid-sentence. So I wanted to know.
Oh,
But yeah, we're definitely going live now. Fantastic. I've noticed my workshop is. I've been trying to keep it clean. I've got various benches around. So I've got a bench on my left over here, which I use for setup. So it's got all the tools I need for the setup and a tuner there, and 2 amps accessible that I can plug into. And it's kind of clean, but obviously it's a dirty, dusty workshop, so dust floats across whatever I do. But it's over that side, and then I've got the bench I'm on now, which is where I do lots of assembly, and then I've got messy stuff is at that end. Um, I've been trying to keep it clean the last few days because I've been working on a project that got sent off yesterday for someone for Christmas. Hey Trent's in the chat. But somehow things seem to spread. So I was doing some relicking on this desk, and certain chemicals I was using, and they leave a certain colour stain. And there's stains of it over there. I don't know how that chemical's spread there. And today Toby was here, and we were sanding some red poly off of flat on a guitar we've been working on. Alan says, "Oh, hi, Alan." And there's red dust just sort of floats over to this side now. It's like one of the like watching something in ultraviolet. You see the germs spreading.
yeah, it happens. I was watching a Gibson factory tour, and they have a special room just for the red aniline dye, because that red aniline dye it'll just spread everywhere. It'll contaminate everything. So they have a special room just for that. So
Yeah,
it makes sense. And I just recently got a second bench. I love it. Like, I've always been like a one bench guy. I got a second one, and I'm just loving the idea of having like things spread out, different projects everywhere. It's working out awesome.
yeah. I think it's good. Like, because Toby comes once a week. The bench at the end is just the stuff that we use, and I can just leave that there. Just needs a bit of a dust down before he comes. I use these tack rags to get rid of dust. If anyone doesn't know what they are, they're basically a kind of woven cloth so dust can get into the gaps, but it's a bit sticky, tacky tack rags, and it picks up the dust really well. But as soon as it goes near that red dust, everything else turns red if it touches it. So these guitars have got a bit of red on them and a bit that's just a plain wood that we're going to stain, and we're just constantly cleaning off the finger marks of the red, which seems to be marking the body. It's like a endless cycle of trying to clean up. Yeah, getting there. I think once it's got the clear coat on, we'll be all protected. But yeah, that's not happening till after Christmas. Just saying to Mark, it sort of feels like I'm on my last couple of days in the workshop before Christmas break, which is quite nice. I sent a guitar off, the one that I showed last week. I think the Stone Roses one that's been sent to the client, ready to open on Christmas Day, which is exciting.
Oh, you knocked that out fast, because when we saw it, it wasn't assembled yet. There was no hardware on there.
Yeah, well, last Monday it was all sprayed up, and then I think Tuesday I sanded and buffed it, Tuesday or Wednesday, and then I left it until Friday or Saturday. I can't remember. One night I came in and put all the hardware on and did the setup, and then checked it again this morning. You know, normally I'd leave it longer than that, but he approached me 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, whatever it was, and said I want it done for Christmas. So it's quite hard to do my normal process. I say he's aware that it's been a bit slightly rushed in some ways, but it'll be good. Trent's got 3 benches, all full, and table saw and router table used too.
Almost like every surface I have has got something on it. Like, it's just, there's never enough space.
Yeah. I've got enough shelves. I used to have enough shelves to move everything off to tidy up. But I was thinking the other day, I need to get some more shelves or clear out some drawers that I don't use anymore and put new things in it.
Yeah, I got to do the same thing. Got to start clearing things out.
I find, so I watch Daniel from Unquendo Guitars sometimes on his live stream. So he's been on, we've interviewed him before, fantastic guy. Go and look in our archive, listed in the the description below. You can find all the people we've interviewed, including him. And he does a live stream every now and then where he's just basically hoovering vacuuming his workshop and stopping in between to chat to people. And yeah, it just keeps reminding me how important it is to clean, because I find it really therapeutic when I clean. It helps me think through what I'm doing. It helps me organize my stuff ready make sure each project is not sort of drifting in any way.
I agree 100%. But then there's also this kind of flip side to that coin where it's like past Mark has to leave future Mark things to do. So I'll like leave my soldering iron on the bench for tomorrow morning with all the stuff I need for tomorrow morning. Because if past Mark doesn't do that, then future Mark, he just won't get to it.
I have I got any here? I leave myself notes. I found one this morning. I thought, what the hell is that note for? It was a note for. It said something like lower pickups, check fret height on a certain fret, and do something else to a guitar. Don't know which guitar it was. I think I must have. I hope it's just an old bit of paper that I've sort of thrown away. I've got a pile of recycled paper, and that's all it is. But it's very possible it was attached to a guitar in a guitar case for me to go back to, and it sort of slipped out. I've been moving things around the last few days, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a huge to-do list guy. To-do lists are the only way I can manage my entire life. But recently, in the past few months, I've started a shop journal. So I now have shop journals, and they are basically these chronicles of all my projects with every single piece of note, every kind of stray idea, everything, scribbles, notes. I mean, and it's just this record that I keep. And when I fill up the journal, I date it and I put it on the shelf. And I'm going through quite a few now, but I think for archival purposes, it helps. And also just in general to go back to those ideas, especially ideas that I never made tangible. There's a lot of just simply ideas, like ideas for this, ideas for that. And they'll never become reality. But if I ever wanted to kind of pursue them again, I can go back to those shop journals. I think journaling is pretty incredible. I think everybody should do it.
Yeah, I 100% agree, but I don't do it. I 100% agree. When I was at university studying art, sketchbooks were hammered into us. When I was doing my A-levels, the exams you do before you go to university, sketchbooks are integral to how you're marked as well. And in the last 20 years, I've been doing lots of education work, working with students before university level, hammering home how important sketchbooks are. And then at university, talking about, people want to do everything digitally, but it's good to have sketchbooks. But I always keep everything digitally, but I don't look back on it in the same way I do as a sketchbook. And the importance of sketchbook for creativity, and exactly like you said, going back and revisiting old projects and carrying on with things you've forgotten, and even just seeing a note that you'd written ages ago about something else that suddenly is relevant now is so important for creativity, so important to refresh your ideas. And instead I just trawl through folders on my OneDrive thinking, how did I delete that? I've just got loads of empty folders because of an absolute cock up.
Same.
Oh, I'm losing signal.
We hear.
I'm sorry. Are you back, Mark? Or was that me?
Maybe.
It's just been a bit funny then. You were about to say something mind-blowing, life-changing.
No, it wasn't mind-blowing. But okay, so The Bones of Old New York. There's a podcast with these guitar builders. He's in New York. He's an old guy, but he's got this young woman named Cindy who builds guitars, right, with him. She finds one of his old sketchbooks from the 70s. The thing is 50 years old. And she's going through look at all these sketches that he did, in the 1970s. And they're that type of historical record to have is incredible. You cannot beat that. And so I think all sketching, all ideas, all noodles should be cataloged. Anything having to do, even wiring.
So I think I'm having internet issues here.
Oh no.
So I hope maybe someone in the chat can say if they're hearing us properly and if it's working all right. I had a weird thing yesterday where I thought it was a problem with. I ended up changing the aerial on my desktop, the Wi-Fi aerial, because it looked like that was broken. And then change the air, everything was fine. So I thought that must be the problem. But now I'm thinking it's other things. I would say Mark keeps pausing. So if I'm still playing, then it's something to do with Mark. I assumed it was my stream.
Oh, okay. I apologize. I'm
Shame
sorry.
we're losing all your exciting.
It's all good. It wasn't
Right.
important. I promise.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
No, but I do think that archiving is important. I have got loads of all my old sketchbooks when I was at uni and stuff. I don't think I'm ever going to look at them again. But you know, maybe it's nice to keep them. But when it's things that I'm still doing, like guitar stuff, it's good to have the notes. I do, like I said, I used to take photos of all my builds. So the other thing I do when I'm working with students is to talk about the importance of documenting everything. So I take photos of everything. If I'm taking the guitar apart, I photograph what the wiring looks like before. I photograph everything from different angles, and then photograph it all as I'm putting it together and working on it. Well, I used to do that, and I've got a bit lax on that recently. I think I got lax on that when I started doing YouTube stuff and filming so much. I was filming more and taking less photos. So I've got endless amounts of film of some of the guitars I've taken apart. But I had a problem with my OneDrive where everything was stored and loads of stuff got deleted, and it got deleted in the process of me trying to back it up. So I don't really understand what happened, but loads of things disappeared, and therefore I don't have access to it anymore. And I realized it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that I haven't got it anymore. But at the same time, every now and then looking back through those things would have been great. Maybe it would have sparked something new. I don't know. Look, as I'm not freezing, it says my internet must be okay. I am going to try and share a screen. So I can't remember for the life of me why I started following someone called Mattias Krantz. I assume at some point he built something that I really liked, which may or may not have been guitar related.
It was the chainsaw guitar, I'm sure.
Chainsaw guitar?
No, okay. Never mind.
Okay, I've got to go back through his channel. But the other day, a new video popped up that I was watching. It's been there was one about a month ago, I think, and then one a couple of days early last week, and I haven't gone back to look through his past channel. So maybe it was the chainsaw. Maybe there were other guitar things. Before I show this, what was the chainsaw guitar?
It wasn't a chainsaw guitar. It was a chainsaw amp. I don't remember. Something with like you got to like pull the cord to start the motor, and there's like a motor involved. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't even him. I don't know.
Well, I tell you what that says. It says that he's potentially someone that does crazy things. So what I saw, which I'll share now, was guitar where he's using mounting the strings in a different way. So he's using magnets to. Here, let's just share it. So he's using magnets on the guitar. I'm going to mute it and play it. Think so. You can see at the back, this is the bridge, and the strings are attached to this floating bit of magnet, which is held in place by the magnet that's screwed down to the guitar body. And there's really interesting like clips of him trying to screw the magnet down without it pulling his tools out in the wrong place or pulling other things out in the wrong position, trying to get the tension on the strings right. So needing a magnet of a certain power to make sure the strings can hold their tune. So he tries out loads of different magnets and is trying to work out how to get those magnets to go into place because they're so strong, nothing's really working. And then working out how you can intonate a guitar like that. And then if it gets some sort of vibrato effect when you're playing. But what he ends up with is this guitar that he reckons is staying pretty well in tune and has a kind of reverb sort of sound to it. Let's see if I can get to the demo of him playing it, and I'll put the sound on. Just check. I think the sound's sharing. Is that sound coming through all right, Mark?
Oh yeah, sounds great.
Yeah. Love that he's wearing this like extreme glove to protect his
Damn,
hands.
it has like a reverb effect, and I don't think I have reverb on.
I mean, the crazy thing is, it just looks like a guitar with a weird white bridge. You couldn't really tell. If you're watching someone playing it, you wouldn't notice it. And if he gets it working properly, you wouldn't notice from the sound that it's anything different to a normal bridge. But it's just this weird concept of having the magnets pull it together.
I love it.
I love the.
I'd seen his first 2 videos, I think, on it. But I hadn't seen this one where he completed it. I know he had to use one of those hybrid set of strings with the balanced tension in order to be able to tune it that way. Otherwise, you couldn't at all.
Yes. It's interesting how he said that note you just mentioned was in a comment. So how the community is helping him build all this up together. I feel like it's a really interesting idea, but strangely, I saw Colin Furze. I don't know if you know who Colin Furze is.
Yeah.
How do I hide that? He's probably most well known at the moment for building like a massive underground bunker in his house. He had a video up the other day of a bike with a different suspension system, and the suspension system was also magnets.
Magnetic, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't click that video, but I did see that.
Just a weird coincidence.
Yeah. In one of the older podcasts, I brought this up. You know how the way a guitar pickup actually works, right? The way that Seth Lover, the inventor of the humbucker, describes it is that the magnet and the magnetic pull pieces serve one purpose, and that is to temporarily magnetize the string. Therefore, you could actually remove the pickup, either the magnet from a pickup, if the strings are magnetized in some other manner, and the pickup would still work. And I always thought about doing that experiment, like magnetize the strings in some way, put a magnet on the bridge or the tuners or something, and take the magnet out of the pickup, and the pickup would still work. So that guy with his magnetic bridge, it's basically the same concept. And the funny thing about that is that most people think about the way pickups work in the pickup-centric model as opposed to the string-centric model, which is actually the way a pickup works, and that the pickup doesn't create a magnetic field. And then the string vibrates in that. That's not the way it works. Physicists have told us the magnet temporarily magnetizes the string. The strings are magnetic, and they create their own magnetic field that's waving around. That's the way a pickup works. So that bridge would be, actually, he could use 2 purposes. He could actually get rid of the magnets in his pickups, and they would still work.
You need to send him a message.
I should.
Yeah, tell Mattias that and get him to do it, or make him one without the magnets in for him to use. That'd be cool to see that. I like something that has a double purpose, even if it's accidental. A happy surprise of how it could be used. Another guitar that you and me were mentioning earlier was the new Tom Morello signature model from Fender.
Arm the Homeless.
Yeah, I know it's an important guitar of his, but I don't actually remember it. It's weird. I remember the one that says this guitar kills fascists, taken from the. Didn't he have one that said that? Or have I misremembering it? Is that Woody Guthrie who had it originally? I think
that was Woody Guthrie. I don't know if Tom Morello had one. Did he?
Maybe
He had the Telecaster. He had the Arm the Homeless. I don't remember any other guitar.
Yeah. No, because I'm. It's funny. It's funny how my memory just misremembers. Because I remember this guitar, but I don't remember it saying "Arm the Homeless" or having hippos on it. I'm not sure what the relevance. I mean, I'm sure there is an absolute relevance for the hippos. Don't know what it is. Well, look, we're chatting about something here which neither of us have done much research on. I do remember him saying that it was the worst guitar he'd ever played when he got it, and then did he sort of like parts caster it himself?
It's a parts caster, 100%, like every single part. Yeah, and that's why there's no one manufacturer that can claim it's their guitar. So it's a surprise that Fender is even issuing this as a Fender model.
Yeah, and as Mark was telling me, if you go into the headstock, Fender haven't even put their name on the headstock. We were discussing why that could be. Could it be something to do with making it as close to possible as the original, or is it because they simply want to make some money out of selling it, but don't want their name necessarily associated with something that's really political?
It could be either of those two.
Mm.
I know that they had one before this. Like Tom Arnold did release his Soul Power Strat with Fender, and the issue with that one was because it was Soul Power is the one he played with Audioslave, right? When Fender issued the Soul Power guitar, it was a sticker because they figured people would want to take the Soul Power words off the guitar, and so it just came in the case. You have to put the Soul Power sticker on there. So it was a total scam. I think maybe that's why they kind of went with this one as a more accurate representation of the actual guitar.
I'm just looking to see if... No, I've totally made up the fascist one about Tomorrow. Just mixed him up with some other political activist guitarists. I've got one of my favorite stickers in my workshop is the one of yours, Mark, that's in my printer. This machine makes machines that kills fascists.
There you go.
So listen, I am feeling like it's a quite nice end for me for the year in my workshop, even though I haven't achieved half of what I wanted. I've got all these unfinished guitars, but I feel like I can start fresh with just focusing on one guitar at a time, trying to get them finished. That's going to be my goal. I'm not making any new projects of my own. If someone's paying me to do something, 100% I'll come in and do something for them. I love doing that. But if there's no reason for me to be buying in new stock to try new projects because I've got too many things to finish. So I'm going to try and take it a bit easier next year and not try and push myself into crazy new things. Apart from some of the spin-off stuff I'm doing, like the tools and stuff that I'm making. But guitar-wise, I'm trying to focus on just finishing off what I've got. But I don't know if I will. I don't know. It just seems endless, me and my unfinished guitar projects. But I'm still quite excited for it. It'd be good if anyone, and people don't normally interact that much in the chat in the future, but if anyone wants to leave a comment about what they think they want to do going forward for 2026, their aims for guitar building, that would be good. You can look back on this and say, oh, look, I wrote it in the comments. I must try and do it. Let's try and achieve it.
Yeah, I'm the same way, but like all my projects start off in the computer, like in CAD. So I have a ton of unfinished projects that are just digital, but they're not actually in the shop because I never started them. So I guess maybe for 2026, I might have to revisit some of those old digital files to see what is sort of a viable next project and what can stay, in limbo forever.
Yeah, that's the point. What can stay in limbo forever? I feel like anything I've started should be either finished or somehow evolve into something that can finish or become a parts caster for something else. But yeah, sometimes there's too many things to know where to start. It's because I sorry to keep banging on about it. I just had to get so many guitars painted for that book I was writing. Have so many guitars painted that I've just got all these bodies painted and necks painted, and I bought a lot of the hardware for them, but I haven't had a chance to do the final. Some of them it's just the final assembly, but some of them it is the clear coats and the finishing on them.
Have you thought about selling just the bodies without any kind of full assembly?
My problem with that is I had most of the bodies that I've got have the necks to go with them and all the parts.
Yeah.
So I guess I could sell all the parts and hope someone fits it together. But I feel uncomfortable doing that because I don't know how well it all fits. Because a lot of these things will need some changing when they're put together. I might have to change the neck pockets a bit because a lot of them I would normally dry fit everything, make sure everything works. Had so much to do, it didn't quite dry fit everything. But yeah, I mean, we talked about before the idea of just selling bodies. Maybe I should put them up and see if someone else can do something to them. I've also got bodies like this, which I sprayed to demonstrate something, but I didn't spray it too well, and it had some problems with it. But it was just to demonstrate something. So I'm now drawing on them and trying to do something different. Try and do something different with them. I'm going to cover this one in doodles, I think. See where that goes. Might look brilliant. Might not. But it's just sitting there. Hey, Jimmy.
Nice. Before this live stream, I just sprayed some nitro, a clear coat of nitro on my Gibson that I'm working on. And I kind of landed on the color. I finally landed on the color. So this was a 2001 Heritage Cherry SG. And in the late 90s, early 2000s, Heritage Cherry is not the same, like across the eras. Like Heritage Cherry changes like through the decades, right? So in the late 90s, early 2000s, Heritage Cherry is like fire engine red, right? If you look at a Heritage Cherry today, it's like wine and blood, like but no way. And it's like the grossest color, it's like a red. So anyway, I landed on Pelham Blue. And all the actual vintage Gibsons I've seen of Pelham Blue look so beautiful because of the aged clear on top of it. So the clear goes yellow, yellow and blue make green. And so all the old Pelham Blues have this beautiful green patina to them. And so I found this nitro supplier from Canada. They're called Oxford. I don't know if anybody's using Oxford nitro before. They sell an antique Pelham Blue that's actually green.
Oh, really?
Nice. Yeah, so it's fantastic. And I sprayed it. It looks, and it's a metallic color, right? So this is like what Cadillac used back in the day. And so it's a metallic color. It looks awesome. And I also got their vintage formula clear nitro. So this is like golden age nitro.
Yeah.
That I'm hoping will be susceptible to UV, hoping it will check on its own naturally without any kind of, hopefully there's no plasticizers in it. But I just sprayed that first coat of clear before this live stream, and it's looking pretty good.
Excellent. I can't wait to see it. I love the idea of the vintage colors looking like the vintage colors look now, so that not exactly vintage, but modern vintage. Yeah, there's so much of that, isn't there? That this is ridiculous what I'm going to say, but I have this memory of when I was a kid. We went to Italy. We went to visit as a family. We went to visit the Sistine Chapel, and the Sistine Chapel had just been cleaned. So you had this amazing fresco on the ceiling with these bright, beautiful colours, and they'd left a corner of it which was uncleaned, how it had been for many, many years. And all the colours were muted and browned and kind of not very nice looking. And I remember looking at it thinking, that's what it should look like. Because I was so used to seeing all these photos of this browny, beige imagery, not these intense colours. It felt unreal. It didn't feel right.
You like your cathedrals relict.
Yeah, exactly. I like everything relict.
Right.
Yeah, I think this one's Pelham Blue. I've forgotten now. Flip. I think this is a Pelham Blue Nitro.
Yeah.
It's got a kind of metallic shine to it. I don't know how well it's going to show up, but it's got lots of... No, it's not going to show up very well. I tried to do an uneven surface with lots of checking on it. This is a weird one. It's a weird finish, but I quite like it. With this kind of white showing through on the edges. And this
I like it.
Weird wood underneath. This was a guitar that I stripped for the book, thinking I'll do something with a grain on it. And it was made of bloody MDF. So then I had to demonstrate. I demonstrated putting a thin laminate on it.
Nice. I just picked up a 1967 Gibson acoustic for my collection. And I bought it because the entire guitar was checked. Front, back, sides, neck, like the entire thing is just completely covered in checking. And I mean, it was just beautiful to look at. And, and when I bought it, it was like the action was incredible. So I was just like, yeah, it's vintage. It's got great action. Doesn't need a heel or neck reset. There's no cracks, no repairs. Like, it's just gorgeous when you buy it. But I started doing some research on it. And throughout the history of that particular model, which is the LG0, for 1 year, from 1967 to 1968, for some strange reason, Gibson decided to use a thinner nitro. And that's just happens to be the year I have, and just happens to be maybe why the entire guitar is checked.
Yeah,
there's not a single surface that isn't checked, like the whole thing.
That's crazy.
Checking it out.
It's good they have records like that. I remember I was looking up, I doing some work for someone, for 2 people on 3 different area basses, possibly from the 70s, but we weren't sure. So I was trying to work out the serial numbers. And as always, found the Aria Pro forum with everyone that's got inside out knowledge about it. And they had such weird serial number systems that kept changing. Every few years it would change, and different plants would use slightly different things, and some records seemed to be lost. And it was so hard to work out when it was from. You could, for some guitars, you can just get a very rough idea, because some serial numbers are put on bodies when the body's made, but not when the guitar's assembled.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So it's great you could find out that exact year had that different nitro.
Oh no, I bought this book. This is a show and tell, Gibson's Fabulous Flat Top Guitars. It's an illustrated history and guide, and you can see Dan Erlewine's in here as one of the authors. And so it's got the entire history of every flat top acoustic Gibson made, and it's just so fascinating how tied into Americana Gibson is. Like, it's tied to American history. Like, every single model, every iteration, every innovation was tied to some moment in American history. And it's just lovely to read about. It's just fast. If you're a nerd and into that kind of thing, like, it's just fascinating.
I don't remember the name of the book. I'm going to look it up when I finish talking. But I read a history of guitars, like the electric guitar, and it was tied into what was going on in the world at the time. And that was fascinating, because it sort of had how certain innovations, including the very early electric guitars, like Fender himself, for example, come out from people that are experts in fixing radios, and the sort of drive of that, and the look of the guitar coming from the Hawaiian lap steel guitars, and the sort of music they were making, and why it was used like that, and which guitarists made certain styles of guitar like popular and famous, and how they did it, and which shows they were on telly, and where they were performing. It was absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, the history. There's so much history, and I'm glad people have captured that history in things like books and on the internet and things like this, so live streams. In fact, the other day I was just stumbled across another YouTube live stream of ex-Gibson employees, like, who worked in the factory, back in the day in the 60s and 70s. So you have these old timers who worked at the factory telling stories, and I think it's just fantastic that they're capturing these stories. I forgot what the podcast is called, but one of my favorite stories was at the end of the day, everybody would leave, go home, and you had a couple of guys at the factory. They'd grab a Les Paul, walk out the back, throw it over the fence. They'd have a friend on the other side of the fence, pick up the Les Paul. I thought that was a cool story.
So I was just trying to find the book as well, but I think I've got it muddled up with a different book. There was a book called The Birth of Loud, which is really good, which is the history of Fender. But the one I was trying to remember, I'll have to bring it down. Or maybe for next week, I'll bring down my non-guitar making books I've got about guitars that I like.
Nice.
A bit of a show and tell. I always think, well, I always like kind of guitar books like that as a little present to myself every now and then, so I can just look through pictures and have a bit of a read. Right, I've realised this is totally like a weird analogy I'm going to make here, but I normally go swimming once a week in the evenings, and this weekend just gone, I went during the day, and I felt so much fitter than when I swim in the evenings. And I realised it's because I'm so tired in the evenings, I just don't have the energy. But when it was daytime, I was full of it. And I'm feeling that right now when I'm talking. I'm feeling like this last 20 minutes has been, or 30 minutes, has been me being a bit too tired to chat properly. So I apologise. And on that note, I think I'm going to say good night, if that's all right, Mark, and everyone else.
All good. All good.
And one day when I manage to either shift my sleep patterns around or live stream in the day, I might be a little bit more focused.
Sweet.
Yeah. But until then, you're going to get my ramblings every week. Yeah. All right. Well, take care, everyone. And see you next Monday.
Bye.